Hello everyone and welcome to this year's virtual Year 10 information presentation. My name is Miss Richardson. I am Assistant Principal at Glenmore and Winton. This is my 4th year on SLT and 5th year at the school. I am in charge this year of Year 9 and 10 raising standards. Within this presentation, you will hear from myself, some of our core subject leads on all the information that you need to be aware of as a parent or student in Year 10. So I hope it's helpful. As you all know from Years 7, 8 and 9, we pride ourselves on having a knowledge-rich curriculum at Glenmore and Winton. At Key Stage 4, students will be building upon the knowledge and skills they have developed during Key Stage 3. So knowledge organisers remain a vital part of what we do in terms of supporting our students with embedding that key knowledge. We're very much still encouraging students to use these and look, cover, write, check as a method to learn and revise key knowledge. Research shows that this method is very successful in supporting students moving the key knowledge from their short-term memory to their long-term memory. And having that knowledge readily available for recall will enable students to draw easily on it when required in exams. That's something parents you can support at home to make sure that pupils have their knowledge organiser for all subjects and that they are using it to revise. At this point, I'm going to hand over to the core subjects to talk you through what this looks like in English, Maths and Science in Year 10. Hannah Hill is the person to contact around English, although on the video it is her colleague. Cara Leachman will be Maths and Lauren Churchill for Science. So you have all of their contact details there if there's anything further you need to know.
Hello, my name is Amy Savage and I lead on Year 10 English. We study both English language and English literature in Year 10 with the AQA exam board, and that's where all the students will be taking their GCSEs with the AQA exam board. So for English literature, what we cover in the curriculum during the majority of Year 10 is a range of our key texts. So we have Macbeth for our Shakespeare, we have A Christmas Carol for our 19th century text, and we have An Inspector Calls for our modern text. And what we mainly cover in Year 10 is mastering the basic knowledge of plot, characters, key themes, key quotations, and key messages. In terms of GCSE language, what will happen is they will sit at the end of Year 11 2 language papers, and over the course of Year 10 they will be introduced to everything that both of those papers entails, but predominantly they will be spending most of their time on paper 1. So what those papers will involve will be reading unseen texts, both fiction for language paper 1 and non-fiction for paper 2, and doing extended writing tasks. So that is creative writing in language paper 1 and transactional viewpoint writing in language paper 2. The only additional qualification or requirement that they will complete in Year 10 is what is called their spoken language endorsement. So this will require everybody to create and present a short speech, and they will also have to field some questions about what they have delivered on and presented on in the class by their peers or by their teacher, and they will get assessed for that in school by their teacher and will receive either a pass, a merit or a distinction for their performance. So you might be wondering now how you can help your student at home, your child at home, and so I'll give you some more details about that next. So how can you support with this at home? The most important way is with homework, so helping your child in their completion of their homework. For Year 10, we continue with our use of Sparks Reader, so at least 20 minutes every single week of careful reading, so that they can feel confident and comfortable in accessing some of the challenging texts that they will be given in their exams. To support alongside this as well, we'll have an additional set of tasks for Year 10, a language reading-based task and a literature task for them to complete every week. All of our key knowledge is in our knowledge organisers, so quizzing them on plot and characters is the easiest thing, I think, to quiz on them if you yourself are not familiar with the texts, and then widening their access to what they can read, so encouraging them to read beyond Sparks Reader and to take an interest in what's going on in the wider world and with current affairs and news stories would really help their English language skills. And we also still have access to Seneca courses, and they have videos and tasks and revision material for all of our texts and for more like technical accuracy skills, so like grammar, punctuation, things like that. If you are also wondering about any materials that you can acquire to support from home, then copies of the literature text, so as a reminder, that's Macbeth, A Christmas Carol and An Inspector Calls, are always useful so that they can have an individual copy, they can write in it, they can have all of their revision notes in it themselves. And then we also think that the CGP revision guides and revision books are of good quality to support the teaching and the learning that we will be giving your child in class as well. If there's anything else that you have questions about or that haven't been covered in these videos, then please do not hesitate to get in touch. My contact details are on one of the previous slides. Thank you very much.
Hi there, my name is Cara Leachman and I'm Deputy Head of Maths at Glenmore and Winton. In Year 10, students begin studying for the Edexcel Mathematics GCSE. They'll study either the higher or foundation scheme of learning. The scheme of learning that we follow is progressive and requires students to master topics before moving on. The GCSE content builds on Key Stage 3 knowledge but also introduces new topics such as surds, bearings, quadratics and similar shapes. Homework expectations are unchanged from Key Stage 3, as students are still expected to achieve 100% on the compulsory tasks set on Sparks. As in previous years, higher ability students will also have the opportunity to participate in the UK Maths Challenge. On the left-hand side, you can see the higher scheme of learning, and on the right is the foundation. There are lots of similarities between the two. However, with the foundation, we use the final half term for review and consolidation of previously taught content.
Hello, my name is Miss Churchill and I'm in charge of Year 10 Science this year. This is the core subject overview for Science for Year 10. So all students are studying the AQA Combined Science Trilogy GCSE. Students study the three disciplines of biology, chemistry and physics on rotation throughout the year and will study the Paper 2 content with foundation or higher tier depending on which set they are in. Their mid-year mocks will cover physics and chemistry Paper 2 content, with biology content being completed in class by the end of the year. The end-of-year mocks will cover Paper 1 content learnt in Year 9 after spending 3 weeks reviewing each paper in class by the end of the year. This allows us to ensure that knowledge retention occurs from Year 9 and we can check for any gaps in knowledge. So here is the overview of the topics for Science Paper 2. So physics will be term 1 and we'll be learning forces, waves, magnetism and electromagnetism. Then in term 1 and 2 we'll be working on chemistry, so rate and extent of chemical change, organic chemistry, chemical analysis, chemistry of the atmosphere and using resources. Then moving on to biology paper 2, homeostasis and control, inheritance, variation and evolution and ecology. Then in the third term, building up to the summer exams, we'll be looking at combined science paper 1 topics. So they will be the Year 9 topics that will be learnt last year, and then we'll complete the biology paper 2 content. So here are the paper 1 topics that will be tested in the end of year exams. So these were learnt originally in Year 9, so we've got biology, cell biology, organisation, infection and response and bioenergetics, chemistry, atomic structure and the periodic table, bonding, structure and the properties of matter, quantitative chemistry, chemical changes and energy changes. Then for physics, energy, electricity, particle model of matter and atomic structure. There are quite a range of revision resources available to help with science in Year 10. BBC Bitesize, you can search directly for AQA Trilogy specification, and that contains the key facts, videos and quizzes required. Also using the knowledge organiser that students will have been given in class, as it contains all of the content for the combined GCSE. Doing look, cover, write, check and quizzing of key content is a really useful way of retaining the information. Also using flashcards, students can ask their teachers for a set of these, and these contain the key content broken down into a question on one side of the piece of paper and the answer on the other that can be used to quiz to check for understanding. Also Seneca, we set homework from here, but students can also set quizzes too for the topics that they want to revise, and that can be a really useful resource. And finally also Continuity Oak, so the Key Stage 4 combined science videos. They have full recorded lessons and revision lessons for all GCSE topics, which is useful if lessons have been missed due to absence or if you want to clarify some information.
Okay, back to me. I hope that was helpful. So just a reminder that we have a really strong philosophy at Glenmore and Winton that every lesson counts, and so it's really important that students are present in their lessons. One of the main reasons for that is there is an incredibly strong relationship between attendance and academic outcomes. So based on this, we ask for your support in ensuring that your son or daughter has maximum attendance. Okay, so here is your super important list of key dates for year 10. I recommend taking a photo, having it on your phone, putting it in your calendar, whatever it is that's going to help you to kind of have these dates at the forefront of your mind, and just prepare effectively for those mocks that are coming up. You'll see there's 2 rounds of mocks in year 10, and you've got a parents' evening in the middle. With some knowledge organiser tests just to check on your general learning in class, and then also when those results are coming out. So hopefully that's a helpful one for you. I'm keen that pupils feel supported in the run-up to these exams, so there will be support and revision in place. So lessons will focus on revision in the lead up to exams. Homework will also be very much designed to support pupils get ready for those year 10 exams. Support booklets will come out to you, and they will signpost revision resources for them to use. And then there will be period 0 from 7:45 to 8:30 and period 5 from 3 to 4 for core subjects. So that's a really good opportunity to just fine tune those exam skills before they go in on the day. This is something that happens in year 11 as well, so it's good practice for them. There is an example there of what a schedule would look like during the week of the exams. It is a long week and a tiring week and an intense week, so it's important that pupils kind of get plenty of sleep and look after themselves during that. More on that, but there's an example of what revision will look like. So just a little bit on setting in year 10 and 11. So at the beginning of year 10, students were placed in the X or Y band, which is to help the timetable happen across such a large school, and those were based on end of year 9 results in core subjects. And then within that band, which X runs 1 to 4 and Y runs 5 to 7, students could be in different sets. So you could be in a set 1 for maths and a set 3 for English. There is no grammar stream anymore, so just a reminder of that the numbers change slightly. And throughout the year, there will be assessment points, so you know that there are 2 in year 10 and again in year 11, and after those sets are reviewed, so if it is possible for a student to move up, it absolutely will happen on the back of those assessments. Here is a look of what a year 10 report will look like. So you'll see the subject, teacher, you've got the percentage in their assessment, you've got the average across the school, and then a predicted GCSE grade with an attitude to learning score as well. So that's what you can expect to receive at the end of year 10. The interim report in year 10 just won't have the predicted grade because there isn't enough data yet. It will just be at the end that you'll get that. Here you can find a reminder of our attitude to learning, values, so excellent, good, adequate and inadequate, and exactly what that looks like if that is helpful for you on receiving your child's report. Just a reminder that in their first report, they will get their examination percentage and the average percentage, but no predicted grade. Then in the final report of year 10, there will be the examination percentage, average percentage, and a predicted grade based on what teachers think it could be possible they achieve in year 11. A few key reminders for exams, which very much similar to what they will have done in year 7, 8 and 9, but super important once we get into official examinations. They need to be present in the correct venue, checking which hall they're in, on time, in uniform. They can bring nothing in apart from water, which needs to be in a clear bottle with no label. There are absolutely no electronic devices, and this does now include watches. And they do need to stay for the duration, including extra time if they are a pupil that is eligible for extra time. Okay, so a little bit of the serious stuff around actual GCSE examinations. Things you need to know, these come from the exam board. They're very much rules that we need to follow. So if students don't sit an exam, they can't get any marks, and they can't have an additional opportunity to sit it. That applies to speaking exams as well in French and Spanish. If students are late, it's our discretion as to whether to let them in the hall or not. If a student breaks exam rules, this does need to be reported, and it can lead to all of their exams being nullified. Exam boards rarely give any sort of special consideration, and if they do, it's capped at 5%, which is obviously not very much at all, and the student must have completed 25% of the course to be eligible. And there is a robust process in place for the awarding of exams access arrangements. And finally, just a few key contacts there for this year. So you've got the principal, Mr. Lima, myself, Raising Standards Year 9 and 10, Mr. Marl, the SENCO, and Mr. Whitelaw, the head of year. So please do not hesitate to contact us if there's anything that you need. Thanks very much, and best of luck for pupils in year 10. I'm sure it's going to be a great year.